last but not least, Emerald Director, Coach Blaine Williams. And Blaine, I got a couple slides here to do with the event coming up, but some words of wisdom and your thoughts and all that. And take it away, Blaine.
Well, maybe I'll give you a few words of Winnie the Pooh wisdom. How's that? We got to keep it simple. Mitch, that was perhaps one of the best short training stints I've heard in many, many years. That was really, really fantastic. And I can remember I'm somewhat of a fossil in this industry. I hope my sound is coming through okay for everybody.
Good.
Very good. I got started back in 1980 in network marketing when I was fresh out of college in a little company called Amway. And I was personally mentored by a gentleman named Bill Britt, who is one of the most successful networkers in modern history. And what Mitch just covered was one of the first trainings that I heard from Mr. Britt, and that is take any challenge upline, never go cross line or down line. And then I'm going to tell you something. People just have a need to share their pain. And I'm going to take a few moments with you to cover a couple basics. And I'm going to just ask everybody to give me the grace to go a little more than 5 minutes, if that's okay with you. I'm probably going to go about 10 minutes. I know it's getting late out on the East Coast, but it's very difficult to encapsulate what I'm sensing, what I'm feeling right now, and where we're going. Tonight's training, in my opinion, is a multi-million-dollar training. It doesn't matter how successful you've been in the past or how much of a failure you've been in the past. It doesn't define your future. Jason is a great example of that. I thought, Jason, you were outstanding tonight. And here's a guy that has been around for the industry off and on. And I think Jason has said he hasn't had huge successes. And yet, I've got to tell you, he's a rising star in this company. He's going to be very likely a multimillionaire several times over. Most importantly, he's going to be a big impactor of lives. John Hill, fantastic. Lexi, Rebecca, she talked about enthusiasm. If you know about the root meaning of words, enthusiasm goes back to the Greek. So is it important to be enthusiastic? It goes back to the Greek. It means God within. I think it might be important to be enthusiastic. So great job to everybody. I wanted to say this, that coming up in the middle of June, I'm going to knock this off, get it out of the way because it's so critical and I don't want to forget it. We have an event called the Catalyst event. You want to put I got you. You've got them in order here. I'm sorry about that, Michael. And let me just say this. I've been in this industry for all these years. I have not met a better running mate, friend, or partner than Michael Renz. And I'm very particular who I hang around with. I'm not needy for leadership. I'm needy for quality covenant relationships. And Michael, I want to tip my hat to you. You're just a fantastic human being. I love you to death. And I honor you and the role that you're in with this entire team. And I would predict that in the next 6 months, there's going to be a dominant thing happening as this team rises and ascends to dominance at MPG. Now, with that, I'm going to jump into this. The Catalyst event is coming up June 16th to 18th. If you want to grow up, you got to show up. You've got to make it to the event. Lexi talked about that she went. She got to meet the leadership. She got to meet the owners. She got to meet the upline. She got to meet the cross line. She got to make a decision. And then she made the comment, I am falling in love with the people. Listen, there's something that defies the logic of the mind when the heart takes over and love kicks in. When you start to feel that you can trust the people you're with, that you can count on the people you're with, that when you're going through a difficult time, that they will be there for you. Let me just share something with you. Your heart will overcome and the facts will no longer matter. The facts will cease to exist because the heart is beyond the natural facts. The heart allows people to no longer think about the possible and start to venture out into the impossible. You know, I was looking at something that was on one of the charts and it said a small group of people, I think it was on Mitch, a small group of people determined can change the course of history. Let me share something with you. When I got into a company a few years back, and that company was a mortgage company. I didn't know anything about mortgages. I hate the analytics of that kind of detail. I just hate it. And I got into that thing, and I followed the same steps that you've heard tonight on this call. And in a 7-month window, I was making $50,000 a month. And we built a team with over 35,000 mortgage agents working for us. Now, in 2008, I don't know if you realize it, but something happened along the way to the mortgage office. Anybody come out of real estate, mortgages, any of that, 2007, 8? Let me tell you something. It was bloody, terrible, despicable, but be like a diamond. Look at that chart up there. Be like a diamond, precious rare, not like a stone found everywhere. Listen, greatness is birthed out of high pressure like a diamond. So what happened is I ended up leaving the mortgage industry with a lot of bloodletting, and I got into, my friends called it the jungle juice business. I got into another company. They had a natural juice product, and it was a great product. I loved it, by the way. I did the same things that you heard on the call tonight. I made my list. I got my dream. I got a vision board on my wall. I decided what I wanted. I'll tell you what I wanted. I wanted to overcome a $45,000 a month overhead I had with all the offices I was closing down. And in that company, I started from scratch because nobody in the mortgage business that I've been in for 6 years wanted to go out and do jungle juice. In fact, they called me the juice boy. Hey, how's it going, juice boy? And I said, well, I'll tell you how it's going. Call me in 6 months and we'll compare notes. In 3 months, I was making a whopping $2,500 a month. But in 6 months, I was making over $18,000 a week. Let me tell you something. The things that you're hearing here on this call tonight have the potential not only to change your life and change the lives of a lot of other people, it has the potential to create legacy income. Take a look at this company that we're in right now, and I want to check the clock here. Excuse me. Okay.
Keep her ripping, Blaine. You just
I want to just say to all of you that as we take a look at this, you can go through those screens. There's a catalyst event. It's $129. What are your dreams worth? What are your hopes and aspirations worth? $129. Some of you pay more than that for your cable TV. Some of you pay more than that for your cell phones. Some of you pay more than that for gas for a week. And yet, you're going to bargain with whether you ought to go out to Colorado Springs and be recognized, be energized, and be inspired. I'm going to tell you right now, the person that gets to that event with the most people personally sponsored and in depth is going to have the greatest exponential growth in the 3 to 6 months after that. It's going to change everything. And I'm going to tell you, this team under Michael Renz is going to have half of that room, and we're going to come out of that, and we're going to end up having 80 or 90% of the company dominance, in my opinion. I don't want to talk badly about anybody because I love everybody I've met in this company. I've got a lot of respect for them. But there is something brewing right now for all of us. Now, if you go ahead, I'm going to give you a little bit of analytics stuff here. There's Doug. I look at that and love that, Doug. Hey, Doug, good to see you. I want to just say this, Jen. I see Rick Violet on here. Hey, Rick. You see this tab right here? This is the X cap. Did you know that? You probably have these, right? Put it in your tank, drive around. It's like put the lime in the coconut and shake it all up, right? Hey, don't worry about how it works. Put it in the tank, drive around. It dissolves, it works. Check your mileage. You can get the little gauge like Lexi did. She is hyper analytical, wasn't she? I just listen. I just put it in. I put the gas in the tank. I found out I saved money. And it works. John Elliott, you know it works. You've been using it in your truck over there. But here's the deal. Is this our product? Well, maybe. Maybe not. You know, Ray Kroc started the McDonald's company. You ever heard of that? There's a movie called The Founder. I'd recommend you watch it. Michael Keaton was a dirty, nasty dude in that show, by the way. His only other better part was Beetlejuice. But I want to say something to you that Ray Kroc did not start McDonald's. He took the McDonald's company away from the guys that started the McDonald's brothers. It's a long story, but I'm just going to say this. When someone asked Ray Kroc what business he was in, he did not tell people he was in hamburgers, french fries, and milkshakes. He said he was in the business of opening outlets and moving a consumable product to the public, and he was creating a cash flow machine. I talk about this all the time. I love the product. I love the consumable product. But I'm going to tell you the business that Wayne Williams is in. I'm in the business of opening outlets and simultaneously moving volume of consumables and capturing the hearts of people to help them accomplish their unfulfilled goals and dreams. It's what I've been doing for 40 years. And what is the result of doing that for 40 years? If I tell you a couple of things that I've accomplished, please do not be offended. I am not a resume reader. I don't like people that are resume readers, so please don't be offended. I do this respectfully. But I got into a company called Amway, and I rose to the top because I was coachable, teachable, and I went and hauled when they told me to. And I made a lot of money in that company. And then a number of years later, I got involved in a little company called the World Leadership Group. It was mortgages. And in that company, I went up, and I was out of almost 800,000 people. There were 7 people in their Diamond Club, and they were all millionaires, and I was one of those. My wife and I were on that Diamond Club. We were leaders of the year in that company. That was a mortgage company, a little different than Amway. But what was I doing? I was opening outlets and moving volume. It just happened to be one company was consumable products, the other company was mortgages. Whenever the mortgage business tanked, I got into the juice business. All I did in the juice business is I went wide and I went deep. I had a passion of a dream that drove me, and I built a lot of income in that company. And someone said, well, how do you like that juice business? I said, I'm not in the juice business. I work on the human resources side. I take over territory, I open outlets, and those outlets move volume. What business are you in? If you went to work at Starbucks, would you wear an apron and grind grinds? Or would you be on a jet like John Hill, flying around the country, finding locations to open up outlets, getting a little bit off of every cup ever poured out of those machines? How many of you'd like to be opening outlets and making money on every tablet, every cup of coffee through our business, every travel package, every consumable product, and everything else we have? How many of you would like to have that? Raise your hand so I can see if I'm talking to the right crowd. I've gone way over my time. I'm really sorry. I don't know how to talk shortly. Someone says you ought to be a Baptist preacher. You got more ways to say you're almost over than most people. But I'm going to wrap up and tell you this. If you want to build a great business with a massive income, here's 3 things. I'm going to give you 2 or 3 points, but here's 3 things you need to do. I want you to write this down. Number 1, forget the past. Number 1, forget the past. The past does not equal the future. Jason Meisner has proven that. And some of you are proving it. Rebecca, my friend Rebecca, she has been beaten up. She has been used and abused over the past number of years. And she will be a multimillionaire in this company, changing the lives of millions of people, spreading greatness around the globe. Why? Because she's found a home and she is changing lives. That's what a lot of you are doing. Number 1, forget the past. People go into the past to bring forward the reason why they can't succeed. Forget the past. Number 2, think and focus only positively on the outcome. Think and obsess only positively about the outcome. Some people don't want to do that. They say, well, that's that rah-rah PMA. Well, let me tell you something. I've never met a negative, dead but disillusioned person that accomplished anything in networking. All they do is come in for a while. They soil everything around them. They cry, they complain. They just are a buzzkill. And they never will accomplish anything. And they'll bounce from one thing to the other. But I'm going to tell you something. If you'll plant your stake and focus only on the positive outcome, And then lastly, I want you to have an expectation that you deserve success now. I want you to have an expectation that you deserve success now. And then this is what I'll close with. God did not create you to grovel around and try to figure out how to keep your lights on, pay your bills, be barely able to make your car payment, your fuel payment, whatever it is. No, 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 no. He created you for abundance. The creator of the universe, the great architect, whatever it is that you relate to when it comes to that, created all of us to be the vendors of abundance. And I'm going to say right now, this will be one of the greatest companies ever because we have some of the most down-to-earth, great people that I have ever worked with in 40 years. It's an amazing thing to find people that you can count on, that you can trust. In the next 6 months, we're going to be in, I would guess, over 75 to 80 countries. You're going to have teams in those countries, whether you know people there or not, because somebody's going to know somebody who knows somebody, and just ask them, who do you know? Who do you know that they know? And watch what happens. Don't worry about going to Mozambique or Nigeria or Hungary. Don't worry about that. It's going to happen because you're going to draw it to you. But I would predict that some of you that are on this call tonight that have never had success in maybe in anything in life, but certainly in network marketing, most people are absolute abject failures in network marketing. I hate to say it. Just ask people. That's why they despise it. I'm going to tell you something. There's going to be a whole lot of people in this company.
Ooh, I just thought I had to go.
Wow. That's great. I love it. Come on up. Come on the call with me, would you? Anyway, I'm going to close up with this and say, this is your chance to rewrite your story, to get up on your hind legs, to focus on the future, and to stay away from people because people are looking for evidence. People are looking for evidence, and so are you. Every moment of every day, every second within each moment. You're looking for evidences why this won't work for you, or you're looking for evidences of why this is going to work for you and is working for you. You got to deny yourself the ability to look at the reasons why it won't work. Because every great success in sports, in music, in writing, in relationships is based upon many little failures and lessons that people bounce back from. So I appreciate you allowing me to take more time than I should have tonight. I hope when I do that, it's helpful to you. I hope it builds you up. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm looking forward to seeing each and every one of you and your teams in Colorado Springs on June 16th through the 18th. Good night, everybody. We're going to go ahead and call this a wrap. Michael's going to post this up, and I will tell you what you ought to do. You got to get a can of gas, go out on a street corner in town, pour it yourself, set yourself on fire, and when people show up, recruit them. Talk to you later.